So we're up on the roof. We gotta get our swamp cooler all going for the summer season. I know all of us will be familiar with an air conditioner, but not everybody has used a swamp cooler. What this is a big tumbler. The other side. Got a big tumbler here in the middle that'll spin and draw air from out here, pulling it through these mats on the side. Up top, water will pump and drip down into these mats to cool them off. As the water flows through, it'll cool your house. So we just replaced the pump and the line here with all new line. And now we're going to be working on this little float back here. So this float's not working anymore. And I have the water off right now, and you can see it's still dripping out of that. And so what needs to happen is we're going to replace that float. That way, when the water level rises, that water shuts all the way off. We don't end up with this dripping off of our roof and wasting water. So we're going to jump into that and get that replaced. So the first thing I want to do here, we just put this new drain overflow in, and it seems like it's still too high. This water's sitting way higher than it should. So let's see if we could tighten this down a little more, get it down in there lower. That's going to allow the water to drain at a lower level. Next, we're going to get back in here. We're going to take this water line off, and then we can remove, and we'll be able to remove this with our little lift here. And then that should make it so the water doesn't run so continuously. So we'll get that out to the side. And now we just got to take this little retainer nut off the back, and that'll slide right out. Okay, so we got that out. Water line comes into here, and then it will tilt, and actually it'd be the float that would tilt up and down. And so this valve is worn out. The bobber lifting doesn't actually close the seal anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a new one in there and get this all wrapped up. So we're just gonna slide this one in. Or make sure that you're facing as straight down as possible. And we'll slap the nut on the back and hook the water back up. So we got that retainer nut on the back. I did want to stop and point out, get that as tight as you can. Because when you put this water line on, as you tighten this water line up, that whole thing is going to want to spin, and you're going to have to take it all apart back again to get that straightened back out. So just make sure you're putting that retainer nut on as tight as possible. It is a pain because it's little, but just get that as tight as possible, and then go ahead and hook up your water. Okay, so we got it all back together. See, I took a little chunk out of this. Get that out of there. Took a little chunk just out of the corner to make sure we're not getting our water level so high, because this really shouldn't be this high. And so that's just going to drop it down about 1/4 inch, which is still a little higher than I'd like it to be, but we'll see how it does, make sure it doesn't leak or anything. And so we're gonna head on down the ladder and get the water fired up, see if this doesn't leak. Okay, moment of truth. I don't see any dripping or anything. You still hear the dripping just from this water coming out. Nothing coming out from the bottom of that valve like you saw earlier. So, looks like mission complete. Go ahead and put this outside door back on. Okay, so we've got most of the fence up. We got this last little strip to do over here along the retaining wall. Of course, got this big gigantic pile of clippings to get rid of. But let's just show you exactly what we've done so far. So starting on the outside, we've gone around the fence, jagged it around here, and gone all the way down to here to our end. It's a 5-foot fence. We've added some extra pieces here down at the bottom just to try and keep those small critters out. We'll see how well and how much we need to adjust for that. We do have a lot of skunks, raccoons, and fox around here. So deer is priority 1. The other animals will come into a very close second. So coming into the garden here, so we still have a lot of cleanup, hauling away to do, maybe get a chipper. Here's our last roll that will go in. Got this front corner done. This was definitely a hot path for the deer. On the other side, you can see right here their path that they would always go. So that comes here to the end. The original fence on the wall is still there. At this time, I'm not going to change that. I'm hoping that the deer don't make any crazy attempts to jump over a corner like this or something. Up here at the top, this is all done. So it goes up the hillside here and back along the sides of the house. And then our next step will be to get up our hill here. But we're just gonna finish this little strip today. This is about 32 feet. I've already got the roll cut and the spikes in. Made some cuts on these trees here to get them up over the fence line. And so we'll get that in. That'll secure our garden. The next step is we get to take the top off the greenhouse. Okay, so we had 4x4s, we had bricks all along the bottom of this just to keep it tucked in and out of the wind. So we've moved all that all around. Overall, for the wind that we do get here, the greenhouse is in pretty darn good shape though. So we're gonna get all these tie downs removed. On this front side, they're all ripped off. So the wind really did them in, but that's okay. Everything stayed down and it didn't rip. Backside, the ties did stay. So we'll just get these last ones off of here. At the end of the day, for a $189 greenhouse, and for how much wind we do get here, I'm very impressed. It's definitely worth it. We could have spent a lot more money on something that didn't quite change the results or give us any better results than what we got. Definitely not something for the long term. But to get your first garden going, or on a budget, it's a great option. Okay, so I think think that's our last tie down. Give you guys a nice place to sit while we take our top off. This will be the first time we've gotten to see our garden without the greenhouse. Wow, totally changed the look. We've got a lot of stuff to move around. There's a view of the lake we haven't been able to see before, at least not since the greenhouse has been up. So everything's doing good. The trees are coming back from the deer. We'll leave the frame up, and when we're ready in the fall to put it back up, it'll already be here. We'll maneuver these pots around as we see how the sun hits everything and what everything likes. Start getting all this cleaned up around the garden and start enjoying the fruits of our labor. So we've come over to a little local park that's an island, and you can see the fish are just going crazy out here. I believe these are catfish. I don't know if they're spawning or feeding or what. I personally have never seen this happen. I'm sure anybody out there that's an angler or been around fish a lot, you guys will know exactly what they're doing, but just crazy to watch them just popping up different places around this island. This island is inside some keys on the lake, and so there's not a lot of water flow in here. You get, of course, some stagnant water, but this is part of the main lake. But yeah, just curious on what these fish are doing. It's quite entertaining so far. Wait, come here. You coming, bud?
I got one bit.
Okay, stop.